Welcome back to another edition of Ask Ron, where Ron answers our Gold Club members' questions each and every week. My name is Jessie, and I have Ron here ready, so let's get started.
Let's do it.
All right, first up, none other than Tony and Angie from Ohio.
I missed him. I haven't seen him in a while.
They've got a couple of questions for you this week. First one is, Ron, we're starting to come across a number of tired landlords looking to sell occupied properties. They're open to terms, but they don't want to disturb their current tenants with walkthroughs or inspections. So their question is, how would you navigate that situation when trying to determine the property's value and condition?
Well, determining the R doesn't have anything to do with the walkthrough. The R is the after repaired excellent condition. And there's no way I'm going to buy a house, nor will anybody else, without seeing the inside. So it's just that simple. And then I'm wondering, is there another alternative reason why they don't want you inside the house? Okay. So you just have to make it clear, okay, we can work out some numbers ahead, but it's still going to be conditioned upon me walking through the house one time. There's no problem with a landlord telling the tenant that he's going to send somebody in to see the house. They don't even have to tell them that they're going to sell a house. Maybe he's an inspector for insurance or something like that. Depends on what the landlord wants to do. But if he's selling a house, come on. He ain't gonna have the tenant very long, so what does he care? So it's really not a big deal. But you do need to see the inside first. Maybe not before you work out the terms, because if you work out the terms, he knows you might be a real player rather than just showing you the inside of the house before you even talk about the numbers. Of course, you shouldn't see the inside before you talk about the numbers anyway. No way I want to get in unless I pretty well know I got a deal, Tony.
Gotcha. Other next question.
Good thing about tired landlords is they're already taking terms. It's called rent.
It's true. Next question is, we are working with a motivated seller who's retired and living on SSI. He owns a beautiful home in great shape, with about $80,000 left on the mortgage. He wants to move back home for another area for peace and family reasons. So the challenge is that his SSI benefits could be reduced if he receives recurring income, which makes terms risky for him. He's open and trusts us. He just needs help getting from the house to the next one without losing his benefits. So really his question is, how would you structure this kind of deal?
I'm not sure why he would lose his benefits just because he sells a house. And I don't believe they're tied to anything like that. And I think that's some myth that somebody's told him and he believes. He needs to, guys, you need to check out this for yourself so you understand what the ins and outs of that are. Because I'm not qualified to answer that. However, if that's his problem, I would just work on figuring out a way that he could sell the house and make sure the money doesn't go into his personal account and disturb his, if that were the case. I don't believe it's the case, Tony. Go check that out and come back and let me know on the next session here. And let me know what the rules are. Or you can go look it up on Google. It'll probably be the easy way, but you got to know the answer to that before you can advise him on anything. A lot of people think things are, they hear rumors and they hear stories and all the next thing you know, it's the rule or it's the law or whatever, and it's just not the case. So do your homework first before I can answer that. Google's better at your homework than I am, Tony.
All right, next up we have Brian Lucy from Colorado.
Okay.
His question is, what are the main things that you look for when you go to the house? I'm guessing that one of them is the mortgage statement with the interest rate and the payments and the balance. What else do you look for?
Well, I actually did a masterclass on that just the other day. If you guys are not watching my masterclass, you should. That's free. And you get on it by going to what?
Go down below and you can get signed up. If you haven't gotten started, then go ahead. It's not too late. We're about halfway through and never too late to get started.
Yeah, just finished lesson 14. Has not been recorded. Well, I don't think it's been reported yet, but either way. It plays on Tuesday and Thursday at noon Eastern, and you can go back and watch the rest of them. I gotta tell you, as soon as I'm through with these lessons, you won't be able to go get the lessons for free. Not sure what we're gonna do with them yet. But you gotta go get on it and get the lessons while we're doing the lessons. Or, because when it's over, you're not gonna be able to go back and just retrieve all the lessons for free. And there's a list, actually, that's I put right in front of you on that Masterclass. But to answer your question right now, I want to get a copy of the deed, copy of the note, copy of the mortgage. Certainly the statement from the bank, the most recent one they got, something that'll tell me what the taxes and insurance are, and whether the payment is relatively current or not. And then, go through the file and whatever else I want. Now, they've probably got a survey in it. May or may not want you to take that right now, but I'd like to know that they have it. And if they do have it, I want it to be sent to me at closing. And sometimes they just let you take it. And sometimes they got anything they got two of, you can easily just take one. And if you don't, they don't have two of them, like on the purchase and sale agreement, I have to have the original. So they can take a picture of it. They can take a picture of anything you take that they don't have another one of, if they're okay with that. But if they got insurance, I like to have the first page of their insurance policy. Not that I'm going to use their insurance, but sometimes your other insurance company wants to see what they got now. Let me think. Out of their original pile, see, if I go through the pile, I know what I want. If I got a listing from me, I know what I want. I'd take the same listing in the house when I went in it. That's enough for now. I think that's pretty much it. If they got a termite bond, I'd want a copy of that. And if they if they have association like a townhouse or a condo, I absolutely have to have a copy of that. And that could be a pretty thick document, but if they don't have more than one, and what I'm looking for is, can I rent the house, or is there anything problem with renting a house? And what are the dues? Those are the two things I want to know about those docs. And that's it. That's it. If I missed something, you'll get it on the Masterclass. Of course, it's in my boot camp manual as well. You can always come see me. By the way, we're starting one Tuesday here in Jacksonville. It's a small one, smallest one you'll be able to get into, because we just announced 3 weeks ago we're going to do a simulcast, virtual and live. Boy, I don't like doing that, because I hate you watching the simulcast one if you want to know the truth, because the live one's 10 times better. 10 times better. There's anybody that'll tell you it's been to both of them. Meaning you're in the class, you get to work with the class, you get to bring leads. That's a big one. We process leads in the live event. We don't do that on the virtual event. Even this one, the people coming live will do their leads, but we don't even ask for them on the virtual. You just get more out of it, because I got your attention the whole time, and I know darn well you're watching that screen. I don't have your attention the whole time. And get to ask questions and get them answered immediately. Well, you do that on the virtual as well, but I mean, it's just not the same. Plus, you get in a room with people that create relationships with that sometimes last the rest of your life. Anyway, enough on that. What's next?
Next up, we have Jason Williams from Delaware.
Okay, Jason.
He said, I purchased some properties subject to over 20 years ago. The original loans and mortgages are still in the old seller's names, and deeds are in my land trust. Now, 20 years later, some of the original sellers from 20 years ago are attempting to either purchase a new home or refinance their current residence.
Yeah.
However, new lender guidelines are requiring I be on the original mortgage to avoid the old subject to mortgage from counting against the seller's debt to income ratio. I was able to get some of those sellers by providing a land installment contract, but was curious if you now feel we should be avoiding purchasing by means of subject to.
All right, well, I answered that question the other day by email, so he's already got the answer.
Okay.
But I'll answer it here. Number one, giving him a land contract now may or may not work, because unless you dated it 20 years ago, and that kind of shaky stuff there if the lender were to find out about it. But the truth is, It might come down to just you providing some kind of evidence to them that their payment has been made all of this time. And that maybe you pay it directly to the bank, but with a 20-year history, I can't believe that a lender looking at that and with evidence in front of them would have a problem with it. But you can see what their problem is. That's the problem with subject to. What the subject to problem is that they can't do a darn thing about it, just so you know. There's not a thing they can do about it as far as you're concerned. But I understand what they're trying to accomplish. So for you to get on the mortgage, I don't know who come up with that ridiculous idea. You can't get on the mortgage anyway. I don't know what the heck they're talking about, to be honest with you. Unless talking about you getting on the new mortgage that they get, and that is even more ridiculous. You don't even own the house. Well, I guess you do own the house, but if you sell it to them, you don't own the house. I mean, if they sell it, so it's ridiculous. Forget about that nonsense. So I think it comes down to just come up with some kind of evidence that this thing has been paid for 20 years. Why are you worrying about it now? Plus, there can't be that much left owed on it to begin with. So I think that's your only hope there as far as they're concerned, unless their debt ratio will allow them to have the old loan count against them as well as the new loan. I don't know what that situation is either. And then, of course, if you felt like it, you'd always pay off their underlying loan, but that's not, you're required to do that. That's one of those things you might want to do just because you might want to do it. All right. That's a decision that some investors make from time to time, that we don't have to do something, but we do it for the good of the folks that we've been working with for the last 20 years. And, that's can't be a large amount of money. There's only 10 years left on it. I mean, even if you wanted to get a private loan. And I'm assuming you don't owe the seller any money, so there's really no incentive. In other words, if I owed them money, I'd take away some of that money in order to go pay them off. I'd just pay off the underlying loan. Suppose I owe them $10,000-$20,000 more than they owe. Okay, if I pay off the underlying loan, I won't be paying your other 10 or 20. I think you get the message here. So I don't. In your case, I bet you don't owe them anything. So just a decision on your part. You want to be a good human, or do you want to not be a good human? Okay, no, that's not true. You're a good human by making the payments for 20 years already. But again, you don't have to do anything, but it's up to you whether you want to do something to fix it for them.
Gotcha. Our last question for this week is Omar in Canada.
One more thing though.
Sure.
There's always another option. Maybe you could go find them a house that you could sell them, that you have owner financing on and taking over the debt or something like that, instead of them going to qualify for another loan. Possibility. And you give them cut them from slack on a down payment or whatever you can do just to make it easier for them. They may not know it right now, but you'd be doing them a huge favor instead of them going out and qualifying for another loan, have another loan in their own name. Just a thought. Go ahead.
All right, Omar in Canada. His question is, what happens to our agreement for sale if a seller goes bankrupt or dies after we purchase it and the property gets foreclosed or probates? How does this impact us, and what can we do to eliminate the risk?
Well, key words there are after we purchase it. So after we purchase it, nothing on the title can affect you. And they're not making payments, you're making the payments, so it can't go into foreclosure. If they file bankruptcy, they will certainly name that loan, but then you get an attorney and point out to them that you now own the house and the seller has nothing else to gain. Now, if you owe the seller money on top of what they owe the bank, then you have to deal with that. But when the bankruptcy judge finds out that the seller's not getting anything now, I don't know what he can do about any amount that they're owed later. That's why you get an attorney and let the attorney handle it. And he'll ask the court to kick it out of the bankruptcy because you now own it and you're making payments on it. Bankruptcy's job is to protect the creditors. Okay, if the creditor is not in jeopardy, there's no reason for them to create a mess. I can't promise you that's what's going to happen, but that's what should happen. And again, that's between you and the attorney to get to deal with it if they file bankruptcy, because they will name that lender. That lender will be notified, but you deal with it as one step at a time here. And again, that's totally up to your attorney. They're not going to take the house away from you just because that seller filed bankruptcy. I think that's what you really want to do. And then, of course, what kind of bankruptcy? There's a 13 and there's a 7. Okay, if they file a 7, that means liquidation. Okay, that all that means is the lender releases the liability on the loan to the borrower, but that does not take the loan off the house, nor does that satisfy the loan. So now your attorney will deal with the lender. Lender will try to get you to assume the loan. You'll know, I'm paying on the loan, I'll keep paying on it, but I'm not going to assume it. And I promise you, the lender does not want the house when somebody's willing to make the payment. Literally, they'd rather have COVID than take that house back. And you just don't know what kind of problems that creates for a lender to have a defaulted asset, especially when they created the default. So again, get an attorney and let the attorney advise you. And that's got to be that's got to be an attorney that understands how to handle bankruptcy issues. May or may not be a real estate attorney.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah.
That is all the questions we have for you this week, Ron.
Well, that wasn't me. It didn't take long. Okay. All right. Again, guys, get on my masterclass. It's free for crying out loud. And make sure you've marked down the dates, December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's our summit coming up. It's free as well. Go register for it. And when you register for it, you're going to get a chance to upgrade to a VIP for $297. And you're going to see that's a no-brainer because the stuff that we put in there for you. Take advantage of that. In fact, you even get extra drawing tickets. We're going to give away money as well as other stuff during this event. I got some really good qualified speakers coming in with subjects outside of real estate to make money with, as well as inside of real estate. And I'm going to be doing some stuff on there as well. So you'll get the agenda sometime between now and then. Just set aside the dates and go ahead and get registered and build around it. It's called the I don't know what it's called. It's about income and real estate. All right. Other than that, I think we're out of things we need to talk about this week. Well, next week, get your questions in here. Don't hesitate. Participate. Don't just sit around and tune in and watch every week. Put your questions in here. Certainly you have some. All right.
All right.
See you next week.
Thank you, Ron.